Right, so here we've got the Brooks Cambium C17 carved saddle. I wanted to take a look at this saddle because I struggle to find a wide enough saddle for my sit bones, quite wide sit bones at around 135, 140 millimeters. And there aren't many flattish road bike saddles that come in that width. Unfortunately, it's very hard to find, apart from a couple of specialised ones, which I find just too hard and they lack the padding. So went out, tried this Brooks one for a good number of miles. Unfortunately, there's a weight penalty if you want something comfy. It's a real shame because this saddle, I can say, is so comfy. It's the comfiest saddle I've ever used on a road bike. Very tempted not to go back to my road bike saddles after using this. I mean, it's about 150 grams heavier than your sort of average priced road saddle. But really, that's not a massive price to pay. You could carry 150 ml less in your water bottle to alleviate the weight difference if you really had to. It's such a comfy saddle. Basically, that comes from its construction. It's supported at both ends, right at the end, one on the cantle and then at the other end on the front at the rivet. And there's no traditional sort of nylon or plastic base underneath the cover. All you've literally got is a cover. And the vulcanized rubber top or cover is used like a hammock basically, and you get a lot of suspension from that. It's very, very flexible. When I first rode it, I thought, it's too flexible. It feels a little bit squishy when you're trying to mash the power in. On a long ride of sort of 60, 70 miles plus, I can't beat it for comfort. It is really, really comfortable. And when you get forward on the saddle, up a climb, it's still very comfortable. There's so much flex in the top. There's more flex in the carved version with the cutout than the non-cutout version. I've used the non-cutout version as well. I have to say I prefer the one without the cutout. The cutout version, I think it's just a little bit too soft in the middle of the saddle. Essentially, you're decreasing the strength which comes from the skin tension of the cover. It's a little bit more squishy. Save a bit of weight, but that's not really important. This is all about comfort. So, come in three, I think, different colours. I prefer the black top with the black rubber underneath. I think it looks really, really slick. Ergonomically, it might not be the best thing for sort of perennial blood flow without the cutout, but if you like to have your sit bones properly supported and you've got wide sit bones and you don't want to suffer from that hot burning sensation on your sit bones, which you get from some cutout saddles, then this is really, really worth a try. And it's just a lovely piece of engineering as well. It's very simple but elegantly done. The cast aluminium pieces are really nice. They're a little bit heavy, but you can't fault it. And the whole thing just looks really classic. Adds a really nice retro touch to the bike. Now, you can see I've got the calipers here. I think the effective sitting area is about 140 ml wide for the sit bones, and the saddle goes to about 155, 160 ml wide across the back. You might think you'd be sitting on those rivets and they'd be uncomfortable, but in reality it's quite a long saddle and you'd never really go back and put your sit bones on those rivets. Even if I have done that, I can't say I've noticed any uncomfortable side effects from that. The weight of the thing, well, yeah, it's quite heavy. I broke it down to actually see where the weight was coming from, and maybe if you're really, really anal about the weight, you could modify it. You could drill some holes in the cantle. The weight, as you can see here, is actually, majority of it is in the rubber top. I think it's about 215 grams, 213 grams. And then the rest of the thing is just the rivets and the hardware add a small bit of weight again, but I just think it's such a nice design. I think it's actually made in one of the Cell factories in Italy. It's not actually made in the UK. But if you're going out to do a century, you know, forget the 150 gram weight penalty. Just put this on your bike and enjoy it. And I've been on many rides where getting sort of the last 10 miles in on a really long ride is frustrating, because you sometimes get those rides where you feel like you've got a lot left in your legs, but your lower back and your sit bones are so much in discomfort that you have to get any power down, you have to be out of the saddle, and it's a relief when you get out of the saddle. But on this you can just sort of mash the pedals all day, and I found that I just enjoy my riding more when I'm on this. I don't have to swerve around little bumps and cracks in the road, and you know, the odd pothole is survivable on this. And if you're looking for that extra bit of comfort for a long road ride, then I would really suggest getting one of these.